Well, greetings, everyone, and a warm welcome to today's podcast, Open Up Podcast. Thank you for joining us. We certainly appreciate your time. Today, we take a virtual trip across the border to Virginia, where we meet the illustrious chef David Alexander. And for the next 30 to 40 odd minutes or so, we engage this beloved chef on some critical social issues such as self healing, regenerative health, holism, and men's anger management. Hello, my name is Dipchand Ramcharitar, the Outreach and Development Coordinator at Voice of Men 360. Voice of Men 360 is a men and boys advocacy group based in London, Ontario, Canada. We've been around since 2020, and we primarily seek the interests of men and boys, though we do at times venture out to assist other demographics as best we can. We are part of International Men's Day, which is serving in over 95 countries for more than 25 years in a similar capacity. Before we kick things off with Chef David, here's our disclaimer. We would like to remind you that Voice of Men 360's mission is always delivered with good faith towards peaceful harmony. The views and opinions expressed in today's episode are those of our speakers and do not necessarily represent Voice of Men 360. Our organization engages in discussion forums to offer inspiration and create awareness of the issues of men who wish to overcome their life challenges. We are not providing medical or therapeutic advice. Should you require that type of assistance, we recommend you contact a medical professional immediately. If you have any questions or concerns about today's episode or any Voice of Men 360 content, please email us at info@voiceofmen360.org. Now on with the show, and we'd like to welcome Chef David aboard. Chef David, a warm welcome. It's certainly a pleasure having you on today, and we look forward to an engaging discussion. So let's kick things off by you sharing a brief background and then including what inspired you to the current path that you're now on. Chef David.
Yes. Hello, world. Hello, Dipchand and my man, Sivam. Thank you for having me this evening. And briefly, I am a 30-year culinary professional. I'm actually a third-generation chef. My dad and granddads were chefs. I hail from Philadelphia, PA. I'm now living in Williamsburg, Virginia. And man, I have been some amazing places. I was a chef for some sports teams, an arena chef. My culinary career has taken me to so many places. I was a former R&B singer in my younger days growing up in Philly.
Excellent.
And yeah, it was very cool. And but today I help people find healthy meals and diet alternatives, especially those with chronic diseases. My specialty, although I'm an all-around chef, my specialty is veganism. And I recently got a degree in complementary and alternative medicine. And so I'm very much entrenched in holism and the ideals of holism. But man, from where I started to where I am now, yeah, man, we're going to need two of these shows.
Okay. Well, that's very interesting, and congratulations on your new degree. It's
Thank you.
Something that I'm sure would bode well with your experiences that you've already had over the years. Now, speaking of experiences, you've had your share of experiences with poverty and violence. What advice would you give to young males to prevent falling into that violence trap, or for those already there, as to how they can pursue reform?
I'm going to say that one of the most important things I think for young people is there's a duality in what I'm going to say. Know yourself, which sounds easier than it is, but knowing yourself and not being afraid to be yourself. So for me, I didn't know that I didn't know how strong I was, and I allowed myself to be compromised when I was younger because I was afraid of, I didn't understand my strength and I didn't know who I was. And so I found myself doing things that were uncharacteristic for I think who my what my personality is. And by that I mean, man, I sold drugs. I I carried weapons, wanting to be a thug, wanting to be a gangster, wanting to be a rap music idea of what I thought a young black man was at that time. And so knowing yourself, knowing who you are, even as a young person, I think can really ground you and help you withstand peer pressure and pressures, to do, foolish things, especially for men, because we're trying to find other men that we can identify with, a brotherhood, if you will, especially for those of us who didn't have a father, right? So that's why gang life is so prolific in America, because what you're really looking for is family. That's why mob culture and thug life and these ideas, they really, entail, young men who have no connection, or don't feel supported and connected, and they're looking for other young men to do that.
Right. Yeah. One of the problems with, as you mentioned, is certainly too many young men out there who seem to have lost their way. And one of the problem goes back to the fact that the nuclear family seems to be something that's not touted as being very important anymore for some reason. So what we have is a situation where a lot of these men grew up without fathers. So what you're doing there is extremely important, and hopefully you will be able to
Right.
encourage a lot of men to get involved. Now,
Let me
um,
let me add, Dipchand, if I can. Let me add one more thing to that
of
too.
course, yeah,
This and this to me is very hard to do. It may be hard for a young person to wrap their mind around, but I think it's something that would serve them and us even as grown men. And here's the thing: you got to tell yourself the truth at all times. At all times. If there's nobody else on planet Earth that you tell the absolute 100% truth to, you have to tell it to yourself. If you are scared, you have to tell yourself the truth. Like, man, I am scared. I do not need to be here where these guns is getting ready to come out and people are going to get shot. I'm scared. I need to get out of here. You have to tell yourself the truth, man. And that will go a long way in helping you, man. Tell yourself the truth. You're not a thug. You're not this. You're doing this because, you want to be cool and you want to hang out with guys. Tell yourself the truth. If you can do that, you will keep yourself out of a lot of stuff, and I think you would be a better man for it. I wish I could have when I was younger. I wish I could have stood up and told the truth, like, "Hey, this ain't right. Let me get out of here.
yeah,
This isn't right."
certainly great advice. And moving on, as someone who has worked both in the culinary industry as well as being a recording artist, how do you think creative expression can be leveraged to promote positive masculinity and emotional expression among men and boys?
Oh, creative expression is one of the best vehicles. First of all, if you have a skill or an art or even something you're interested in, music, the arts, writing, even, those things almost let you become another person, almost
Right.
like an actor. Like you can almost be, and so you can say some things. I think the freest people on earth are comedians, right? Because they can say things that we probably couldn't say, but they can put it in a joke form and it's acceptable. They can talk about whatever, whoever, whatever segment of society they want to talk, they can poke fun at them and we all just laugh about it, but they really saying something deep within those lines, right? So I think creative expression really kind of allows you to go ahead and have that confidence. For me, singing allowed me to be somebody else because I was very shy, very withdrawn, and I was actually scared. I was scared to talk to girls. I was scared to be myself, really. I thought nobody would like me. And so, but singing let me become, my stage name was Scorpio, and I embodied what I thought a Scorpio was, a strong, confident person. And so then that helped me become in my regular life a stronger, confident, more person by acting that role out through
Right.
music. And so yeah, creative expression, man. If you're a visual artist of any type, man, you
Yeah.
can say so much with a brush stroke. You can say so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's shift gears a bit here, and let's move to your focus on cooperative and regenerative. Pardon me, medicine
Mhm.
is fascinating. Can you share some insights as to how holistic nutrition and diet can impact men's health, particularly in preventing chronic disease?
Okay. Holism, in case people out there don't know or don't realize, holism is all three parts of a human existence: mental, spiritual, and physical. I'm a football fan, right? So we would say in football, the champions are those who have all three phases of the game down pat: offense, defense, and special teams, right? You can't be strong in one area and weak in the other two because the other two will weaken the strong area, and then you're not finding balance and wellness.
Yeah,
Wellness and balance are the same word; they're synonymous. That's what wellness is
yeah,
balance, right? And so so holism allows you to focus on all three.
yeah,
With the brain being the engine that drives this whole vehicle, right? If you can't take care of this right here, all the physical stuff you do is not going to matter. It's going to be like strengthening your biceps, but your tricep is weak and your glute and your pecs are weak. So the little bulge of muscle you got ain't doing nothing, you know. So
yeah,
and
absolutely. Yeah, because I think it's all about synergy, as you mentioned, this holistic approach. There are teams out there with individual brilliant players, but as a team, they do not function as well as a no-name, a bunch of no-namers who click together. And so that holistic connection really drives
yes.
home success, in a really big way. So that's a very good point, um, that
Let,
you've come up with there.
let me
Go
let me
ahead.
add just real quickly, if I can, let me add this, especially for young boys. A lot of young people eat too much sugar.
Yeah,
So, for instance, too much sugar, too much fake foods, hot
yeah,
dogs, pepperoni pizzas, these genetically modified food. That causes kids, that can affect kids to the point where not only can they not learn, but they're liable to be in the middle of their school day, they're liable to be ready to fight, like because they're technically malnourished. You can't
yeah,
have a Pepsi and a Snickers bar for breakfast. That's just you by 12 noon, these
yeah,
teachers, and so what? The teachers can't handle these kids because by noon they're bonkers.
yeah,
And so now us as grown men will work a lot. We have bad eating habits. We'll grab whatever's quick.
yeah,
We rarely bring our own lunch or fix our own food to bring for, and so and so now we can't handle stresses at work. We're going to snap. We're going to, and so that's why holism is important. That's why all these components become important, because if not, all these little things throughout your day will eat at you and cut at you and put you in not wellness or
yeah. It
dis-ease.
does. Yeah, and this actually is an extension of the next question is an extension of what we were discussing, and the question is, you've developed food products with a focus on youth and seniors nutrition. What specific nutritional challenges do you think men and boys face at different stages of their lives, and how can these be addressed through diet?
Again, again. So you know a kid's diet. You know, kids around the world is the same. Kids like sweet stuff. They like the junk food. You know, they like McDonald's. And so a child needs a parent's help in making healthier choices. And I'm a realistic holistic chef.
Right.
So I'm not saying take all of this away from them, but I'm saying be more involved. Cooperative medicine means that you are taking a position as part of your own health team. Cooperative medicine is your heart doctor, your whatever else doctor, your primary care physician, and you constantly having dialogue, constantly you're involved, everybody knows. That's cooperative medicine. That's the whole vision of it. And so children need the adults to help them plan better meals, put an apple in that boy's lunch. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Restrict them kids from sugary stuff a couple of days out of the week.
Yeah.
I'm very much a big proponent of cheat days.
Yeah.
If you're an adult, it starts here. If you're an adult, it starts here. You have to say to yourself, like, man, I need to get better. Simple as that.
Yeah.
Simple as that. It's no magic potion and no magic pill. It comes down to what's in your heart and what's in your mind. Like, man, I want to be better. I
Yeah.
got to be better.
For sure. And speaking of being better, you have a podcast called the Smartest Podcast in the World. Covers a wide range of topics. What topics relate to men's health specifically, health and wellness, do you think are the most important to discuss, and why?
Well, my podcast is new. I'm only 4 episodes in.
Okay.
And as it's taking shape, my what I want to focus on, it has taken more shape. And for me, first of all, my podcast is really me telling all my different stories throughout my life and all these experiences and the health crisis that's involved with that story. For me, I went through a depression that was so serious. I had no idea that depression could be like this.
Right.
Then to make it worse, I thought I healed and was good, and I got worse. And I had no idea I was sinking worse
Oh,
into a depression. And so I learned some valuable things. Healing is a continuous thing.
sure.
It may take a while for you to heal from a thing, and you may actually never actually fully heal from a thing. And so the healing process is continuous. And so I just tell these stories. And so my main focus now has become anger. I learned that I was a very angry person inside, and I didn't know. I didn't know that the behaviors that I would manifest. I'm a great guy. I'm a cool guy. I'm very friendly. I'm very down to earth. I'm very personable and likable. I have friends that I've been friends with for 30 years. But I noticed that as I was in my depression, I started becoming mean, man. I started becoming mean, and it was because I was still angry because I never really healed from what I thought I needed to heal from. Um, And I go very personal. I am not afraid to be vulnerable because, again, going back to something I said earlier, is you got to tell the truth. I don't have any problem sharing my truth with people. I don't have no problem telling you that I thought something real crazy like, hey, man, I saw myself choking this guy. I've been angry enough to choke somebody. And that's not really my real nature. So it was like a war inside of me. And so as that became clearer and I did those covered those type of subjects on my podcast, I was like, man, I think I'm going to stand on a platform of trying to help men resolve their anger, because a lot of times we don't have knowledge or tools, and the anger will seem like it's about something else, but it's really an inner anger that we haven't been able to resolve.
Right. So, on a similar theme, you've just actually spoken about your life work being a God given mission to be a healer.
Yes.
How do you think spirituality or a sense of purpose can play a role in men's healing and personal growth?
One of the things I do in my podcast is, and because I just got my degree, right, I had to write college level papers 3 times a week to get this degree, baby. So I'm
Uh,
very adept at academic research, peer review articles, and the like. And so on my podcast, I always add something intellectual with some peer reviewed. For those who don't know, peer reviewed articles are articles that people in academically and intellectual people way smarter than me have said this is legit, and they all co-sign it. That's different from some article from some reporter who could have a bias and be putting whatever they want in this article. You see what I'm saying?
exactly.
So I focus on peer-reviewed academic articles to substantiate whatever the subject is that I'm talking about. So in doing that, man, I picked up so much information about what physically happens to you during what physiologically happens to you during anger, depression, anxiety, and yeah, it just blew me away. I'm sorry, I went somewhere. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, you did. Let's move to another. Now we've been discussing pretty much, things that we can do as men. But
Yes.
here's another aspect that's really important, and that is keeping in mind the societal expectations of men. What
Mhm.
role do you think community and support systems play in promoting men's health and well-being, and how can these be strengthened?
Okay, I'm gonna go back again to something I said earlier. You have to know who you are so that you can know what situations are serving you and which ones are not. Um, because there is a plethora of information out there. There are organizations out there. One of my good friends, he's actually on a show tonight in Washington D.C. with the great Dr. Ayanla Van Zant, and his name's Brick City Buddha, and he helps men, over their depression and anxiety issues. And so there's help out there. You got to look for it. You got to tell yourself the truth that you need the help, because if you don't recognize you need the help, first and foremost, you're not going to do anything. But as families go, you got to be honest with your family. You got to let them know, and you have to be unafraid to be yourself. Again, these same themes. Be unafraid to be yourself. Be unafraid to be vulnerable. And if you ask, the information will come to you. People will give you information about who or what they know in the community. Simple Google searches and Chat GPT searches will bring up information for you, but it starts with you, and it starts right here with you. You have to say, "Hey, man, I need help, or I want to be better." Just because I'm asking for this help does not mean I'm less of a man. And sometimes you got to say, "Damn society's idea of a man," and be the man you want to be. the I have a mantra I say to myself whenever I feel my anger building up. Now I start saying, "Uncle Derek, Denzel Washington, ice water." Why? My Uncle Derek is one of the coolest people I ever met. His demeanor wouldn't change. He was a fly gentleman. He was a what we would call a player. He was a player, and he was smooth as ice. So thinking about him helps bring me down. Denzel Washington, who's cooler than Denzel? He's like the coolest dude on planet Earth. And ice water. So I say these things to myself, and it helps for me. But again, don't be afraid to be vulnerable, man. Let somebody know, hey, man, now you can't tell everybody everything, and all handshakes and smiling faces ain't friends, but you will
Right.
if you can find a family member or people you trust. Your wife is there to, lean on these people, lean on these assets that you have.
Yeah. Absolutely. Those are fantastic suggestions to bring oneself up and about and move forward with all the negativity surrounding us out there. I just wanted to add to that. I think it's important to I think that what is happening to society is that they have this sort of premonition or this idea that men are disposable. Like, if a man
Mm,
gets into problems, oh, it's a man, he'll deal with it. So there isn't
right.
that support system out there. So I think that's something that's important, and something, I guess the ultimate would be from a legislative standpoint, if we could get certain things to change regarding to men's mental health especially. So that's just
Yes.
something I wanted to point out. But I do agree with you, as an individual, you really have to, go headlong, put your best foot forward, and whatever the odds are out there, you have to try and make it as best you can on your own. But again, as I said, it would certainly help if the public's perception of males and men in society can be somewhat sort of staggered or watered down, at least, to realize the importance of men out there.
Well, I mean, look, brother, you doing what you can to be one of those resources. You and the great people behind you at Voices of Men 360. And so, as you inspire other people to do podcasts like this, maybe that voice will grow. But I ain't gonna front, bro. If I could keep it 100 with you, my elder would say, I only pull the levers that I can pull. I don't worry about the levers that I can't. When
Yep.
I can't worry about what society's doing, I have to start here. I
Yep.
have to start
Yeah.
here. So while
Yeah.
society is getting it together to
Yeah.
be better at accepting men, first
Yeah.
let me accept myself. Let
Yeah.
me associate with people who accept me. Let me keep myself around people who accept me. And you create your own world. That's why
Yeah.
my podcast, I say, my name is ChefSouL. I live in a world of my own design, and I'm the smartest MFer up in here.
Yeah.
I live
Well,
in a world of my own design.
yeah, absolutely. And I think both can be achieved. It's very important, as you mentioned, for someone
Hmm.
to, to make that decision and move forward on their own. But as I said, I think if we can get society to chip in, it would be good as well.
Sure.
So it's
Sure.
something that
Sure.
that both can work. So let's look ahead to the future now. What gives
Yes.
you hope for the future of men's health and wellness, including potential initiatives and programs?
Well, this might be a long egghead answer, but to be honest, I had to do a report about globalism and its effect on American society. So the internet, podcasts like this is bringing the world closer together. And as that happens, we become less afraid to be ourselves. And we find people who are more inclusive and willing to listen and willing to interact more. And so I think all of those, that's what gives me hope. The, just how prolific it's becoming for anybody to be able to have a podcast and a platform to speak, and then watching these people aggregate, and come together, is amazing. And those are the things that give me hope. I find people less rigid. I find more people, especially men, I find less of them saying, oh, that's not manly and I gotta be this rough and tough. And I'm starting to see more men like, hey man, like, I'm okay with being vulnerable in this space right here because I'm messed up and I need help. And that's encouraging.
Yes, absolutely. I agree with that. It's about time to this stoic approach is not especially in these times is not working. I have one final question for you, but before I get to that, just some further information about our group, our organization rather. And so basically, we welcome any and everyone to our organization, regardless of gender, age, nationality, ethnicity, whatever your beliefs are, not important to us. We just would like you to help us move forward in the interests of men and boys. And so everyone and anyone is welcome. If you want to be a guest on any of our shows, just reach out to our organization, and we would certainly welcome the idea to have a discussion and see how best that can be accommodated. We would love to work with individuals, professionals, experts, community organizations, associations, corporations, government officials, businesses, you name it. Some personal, information for contact information rather. Our phone number is 226-289-8784. Our email is info@voiceofmen360.org, and our website is www.voiceofmen360.org. You can find us on pretty much all of the major social media platforms. We do have a Facebook group page. Please join our group, as you can see our daily activities, and of course invite your friends along. Other social platforms we are on include Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok. And we would love if you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, Voice of Men 360. So we're pretty much at the end. We've had quite an absorbing discussion. So just to get back to the discussion, and Chef David, final question for you. Would you like to share your contact information to those interested in learning more about yourself and your work?
Sure thing. Well, you can find my podcast, the smartest podcast in the world, on my YouTube channel, which is ChefSouL. I'm sorry, which is one ChefSouL, which is the number one. Or you could just enter it in the search. You could put ChefSouL or, any of those terms. You can find me on Instagram under Xanders, which is my last name is Alexander. So it's Xanders, Xanders_culinary. That's my Instagram. And on Facebook, it's ChefSouL, David Alexander, aka ChefSouL. I think if you put @ChefSouL, it comes right to my page. And I also have a website, The One ChefSouL, with the number one, The One ChefSouL. And through those, you can find and read and see posts and videos, all type of crazy stuff. I fancy myself a little bit of a comedian, so some stuff you'll laugh at, some stuff is informative. Food and music, man. I'm a servant, so food and music is how you serve people, it's how you touch people's soul, and that's why soul is after my moniker. I want to affect your soul. Shoot, you can call me 215-821-6605. Call me, bug me, ask me questions. I don't care. I love to talk to people. And no, I am on a God. I do believe God gave me these skills, talents, this knowledge, and these experiences to help people and to help people heal. And I fancy myself a healer. And it delights me to know that I'm helping somebody. I am the eternal servant. And so my elder said that the highest position, no matter, even if you're the president of the United States, all it means is you just a bougie servant. That's all it means. So I'm glad to be a servant and to serve people. So yeah, reach out to me. You can find me in Williamsburg, Virginia at Bizarro's Deli, my partners. And yes, go Eagles.
So you have demonstrated in the last half of all those wonderful skills and traits, you advise as a sage, your comedic take on things and whatnot. It's been a very lively and absorbing discussion, and I want to thank you ever so much for being part of it today. To the audience out there, I really, really appreciate you taking the time to join us today. It's been a pleasure having you and Chef David. And of course, we have to mention our president, the man behind the scenes, the one who keeps things rolling seamlessly, our president, Sivam. So thank you, Sivam, as well. And
El Presidente.
El Presidente himself. So thanks again, David. Thanks to the audience again, and to Sivam, and from all of us at the Voice of Men 360. Have a very good evening, good night, good morning, wherever you may be, and goodbye from
Yes.
us.